And what's up, everybody? I am back. I'm your host, Serge Fiction Papa Doc. And yeah, we're back here again. Still haven't taken that final because she hasn't released it, but it's all good. We're getting things done. Today I have a special guest. And this is one of my homegirls from like back in the day. And we recently reconnected a few months ago, and man, it's been cool. We've been sessioning, we've been jamming out. She's been a big inspiration for me, just the way she dances and just her overall view of life. And let me introduce to you Nikki BLOOM May.
Hello.
What's up, Nikki? How are you?
My brother. I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, man. I was telling them that, man. We lost touch for a long time, right?
Yeah, I don't even know how many years.
I want to say it was, almost like 13, 14 years.
Ooh.
Man, we're kind of giving our age out right now, huh? Ooh. Yeah. So, I'm really excited to have you on here. It's, I love interviewing my friends and love interviewing and hearing your story because you have a great story. And I'm glad you're finally going to share that with the world. Okay. And so generally what I like to do here is I don't like to talk about I like to talk about the feel good stuff, but we get there, we eventually get there. But there is a whole journey that comes from that. Sometimes we go through some rough experiences, and those experiences somebody can relate to and kind of grow from that, or even kind of help people overcome their adversities. So that's what we like to do here. Okay, so are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready. And I just want to say I'm just so grateful that we reconnected, and I'm really appreciate being on here on your podcast. It's an honor. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. So first of all, tell us about yourself. How did you get into dancing?
So a little bit about myself. I am a mother of an 11-year-old, a very proud mother. I am also Filipina American, so I was born in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California, and then my parents moved around a lot, and then we finally settled in the San Fernando Valley, and so that's kind of where I kind of grew up there. And just growing up in this area, there were a lot of dancers in my neighborhood. Everyone was either breaking or skating or graffiti art. Like it was just it was just a part of my environment. And I had older cousins that were into popping and breakdancing. And so kind of just growing up with a huge Filipina American family, like parties would just be so huge. And we, I'm a daughter of immigrants, so I'm a first generation immigrant. So like we celebrate life, because like it was so, the immigrant story, you come here, you leave everything behind, and then, you come to a new place, and you kind of have to celebrate life, so I would celebrate life with my crazy huge family, and we would dance and sing and listen to music, and so I feel like that's when I started was with my family. Mm-hmm.
Nice, nice. Yeah. You know what? Like, I grew up in Carson. So like Carson has a huge Filipino community. And I remember even when I was like going to elementary school, you know, there was dancers everywhere, and a lot of them were Filipinos. Actually, there's one that I remember that I actually went to elementary school who kind of is up there, who was really known. That's
Really?
D-Lock,
Oh,
Donna D-Lock Aragante. Yeah, me and her went to elementary school together all the way through middle school and even
no way.
Carson High School. Yeah, we went
What?
to she.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh my God, that's so cool.
yeah. So like she was. I remember her and like doing it back then, even when before I was doing it. And so, now that we used to go to Homeland and seeing her there doing her, she was already like beasting it back then,
Mm,
right? So that was just kind of like, uh, it's dope to see like my community, coming up there. But yeah, Filipinos are like huge when it comes to this dance scene. They actually took over it for a bit, So,
mm,
and it's especially hip hop, the big hip hop scene. So
mm.
yeah. So how did you get into popping?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned hip hop. So I kind of was into hip hop. That's kind of the music. Grew up on, well, first my parents would listen to a lot of like 8 tracks and vinyl. And the vinyl they played was, the Beatles, Michael Jackson, Jackson 5, a lot of like Motown stuff and James Brown and stuff like that. So that music kind of stayed with me. And
Oh,
then
they listen to that good stuff.
yeah, I listened to like soul music, but then also like rock and it's just kind of very eclectic, but 80s kid, 70s kid, you listen to all that music, and then the 90s came up and it was all about hip hop. And then so I think I was like a hip hop dancer first. I would just emulate what I would see, on MTV. And that at that time it was like, the golden era. They call it the golden era of hip hop. So that really just, I don't know, spoke to me so much. Like, uh, you know, Black music, African music, rap, hip hop, just, I don't know, it just kind of took a hold of me, and I became very heavily influenced by the music and what they're talking about in the music. Because in the 90s there was a lot of like good stuff. It was a lot of you know consciousness raising
Yep.
music. And so a lot of that has stayed with me. And so I guess the transition from hip hop to like popping was so I had some friends that I would just dance with, and they were going to raves in LA. So there's all these raves, and I'm sure that you used to go to those raves too.
Hmm.
I would go to some of those raves, and they would have hip hop artists there and play hip hop music, but then they would also play like all the rave music, the stuff. I mean, the electronic stuff. And then I would just see like my friends would start tutting and waving. They were doing like liquid. Um and then I just saw some poppers, and I probably saw Pandora. I think I saw like just, all of the people that we know in
Yeah.
Homeland. I saw them just, I was like, what is that? I want to learn that, So it kind of was like hip hop rave scene in LA, and then transitioned to like popping. And then I don't know, I just kind of found people that were doing it. I was a student at UCLA studying dance, and there was a popping breaking club there. And yeah, I just met all these like poppers and breakers from everywhere, and we were all students. And then one day, this was in 2001, I think, or 2001 or 2. Um, they were like, "Yeah, let's go to Homeland. That's where everybody goes."
Hmm.
So I went, and I remember the first day I went and I saw Wavo. I saw Pandora, I saw Animation, I saw Casper, and Casper was like, it's so vivid in my memory because it was my first time going there. Tripping hard. Like I saw Wavo practicing like angles in the mirror. You know that mirror.
Yeah, yeah. I know the mirror.
And I saw Pandora practicing her tutting with Wavo, and then I saw Animation busting a routine with Casper when he was like popping and not like breaking. You know, everybody knows like this, you know, dope b-boy, but like he's a good popper. So Casper, I saw you when you were a little boy get down popping with Animation, busting routine, and so that was my first day. And after that, you know, like just in and out, going to Homeland periodically, not, you know, not like consistently, but throughout the years, starting 2001, I was going when I could because like I just was trying to graduate college, which was really hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's how I got into it. But like actually I want to rewind really quickly, like my first the first time I saw well, so the first time I saw popping was at a rave, but then I wanted to my friends started sharing Radiotron videos with me, and the Radiotron videos would have like all of the greats, everybody battling in there, and like just, you know, it's Radiotron. So I would watch those videos, and I was like, I need to study with these people, and I wanted to study with Animation, Mr. Ree, and all the people I saw, Chuko. So basically, Air Force crew, and so they were teaching classes in Hollywood, and I went to Animation and Little Caesars class. But like, so Animation was teaching hitting, and that was the first time I ever heard of hitting or popping was through Animation, and I'll never forget that class because like that's my very first experience with popping, and you know, R.I.P. Mr. Animation, they like taught me how to like hit, and then after that was when I um, found out about Homeland. But Animation is my first like teacher.
Whoa, I didn't know that. I think that's the first time you ever told me that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think you've been holding back on me, have you?
waves, like yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's man. Audio, the Radiotron. I called it Audiotron the other day. Oh my god! And then I see some videos on there, and I was just like, oh man, it's the Radiotron, not the Audiotron. But yeah, but yeah, I mean that place was. I mean, it even came out in that movie, Breaking. You know, Breaking and Breaking Two. You know, that's where everybody used to go battle, and greats like Poppin' Taco, uh, Shabadoo, rest in peace. You know, Chambers. You know, Michael Chambers, Boogaloo Shrimp. You know, all those like OGs that we know from LA. Like that
Yeah.
was their joint. That was their spot. So
Mhm.
definitely throwing down some heavy hitters in some like a heavy hitter location, probably like the original Homeland.
I think so, yeah. I
And
think
so
of it, yeah. So like shout out to Air Force crew for like creating that space, you know, and yeah, I think like in the movie they called it Miracles. And yeah, you know, I saw those movies too and like really young, just trying to emulate Boogaloo Shrimp with the with the that whole
I think everybody does that. Even Dave Chappelle did that in his one of his Chappelle show where he's doing the broom scene, but you know he's doing it comedic. But it's still like for somebody to kind of like remember that and try to emulate it, even if it's comedic, you must know that it's like a classic piece, you know?
oh my gosh, so classic. Like, you know, so much like childhood fond feelings, you know, from watching that movie. Like every time I hear that song, you know, that song, Ain't No Stopping Us, No
Oh
Stop.
yeah.
I hear it, I just want to cry because like I just remember how I felt as, you know, as a kid, just like, wow, I want to be like that. I just want to be like them, just dancing, and like I want to be just like them when I grow up. So yeah.
Yeah, that intro to that to that movie was just because I mean there was that other one, Beach Street. But Beach Street's more breakdancing, more of a culture, the culture of hip hop, right? But like, and we can relate to the culture of hip hop, but when they did breaking, it was more West Coast, right? And so that, they had places that we recognize. Actually, there's a few people that are on that's on that movie
Ah.
that people, I don't know if people recognize. Terry Crews. Terry Crews comes out in the scene. Yeah, Terry Crews and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, I know Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude, he's over here,
There, yeah.
doing this little wiggle. But Terry Crews, yeah, he comes out in there because I think during that time he was playing in the NFL with either the Rams. I think it was the Rams or the Raiders, one of those two. So, the Raiders were here during that time, and the Rams, well, they're back now, but they're here too. All right. So yeah, man, that's a great way to get into this scene, knowing it that way. Okay. So here comes the question, the big question. So here it is. We're gonna get a little deeper. We're gonna get a little deeper. Here, let me throw on a banner really quick so that you can know where they can see. Well, not see that one, but like see the stuff at. Okay, so here is the question. You ready for it?
Ready.
So, what was your biggest struggle or fear on your journey to learning and progressing in this dance?
Ooh, that's easy. Fear of failure. Fear of, not being good enough. Fear of judgment and criticism of others. Fear of, it's just fear. Lots of immense, debilitating amounts of fear of being wrong, and, not doing the dance properly, not, you know, um, representing correctly, and yeah, I just was also extremely shy, and not that there's anything wrong with being shy, but like I just was really scared to share myself, because I just felt like I think it stems from like how I was raised to, kind of be a certain way, and if I was not a certain way, then there were, you know consequences. Just kind of a old school parenting, you know, and I think that kind of just became who I was. And so, yeah, I think learning dance and being a dancer, especially popping, just kind of has helped me to overcome those fears. And I'm still working on that right now. But I think that's the main obstacle, because when you have a lot of fear, you kind of can attract that kind of energy, and you lose your own power, and so I think that's what I did. Yeah. In this, felt like I gave my power to others, like caring too much about what others viewed of me, of my dancing, or just everything that I am.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that because sometimes the teachings that our parents kind of instill on us is we're supposed to be. They have an image for us, and they think they know what's kind of better for us. So they tend to compare us to other siblings, to other cousins, and as much as it's like, well, it's not a big deal, like, oh well, your cousin takes out the trash, like it
Mm,
me sometimes, and my mom, man, fuck my cousin, like I don't care about him, like, but it's that comparison, like, oh well, your cut your brother the doctor, you're just like, well, I don't want to be a doctor, or I don't want to do this, and it's hard for us to kind of really pursue what we really want to do without having to prove ourselves to everybody.
Yes.
And that's very difficult. Like that's very difficult to deal with. That's something I honestly I believe, like, Filipinos and Mexicans are very similar, and a lot of that, a lot of the that way I think it roots from our Spanish,
Yes.
background. But it does create a wall there that you feel like I want to break through it, but then you always got people holding you back, or you have these ideas holding you back, you know. And I can totally relate to that. It's not a good place, Um,
Yeah.
we can always try to, that's why we have to grow. We have to bring ourselves around different people, and especially good people. They're going to help us be better. So who are some of those people that you've ran into that it's been like that have been helping you out, kind of like with some of these struggles?
Oh, let's see. I have a lot of good friends in the scene that have just been supporting me through just this artistic journey. Who can I say? If I could just name drop, I'm in a group where, yeah, it's just supportive artists, and we come together and we create these dance pieces that are about um, life and challenges in life, specifically the challenges of being like a brown woman, Asian American woman, navigating just life. So I have that kind of a group of like a sisterhood that I can turn to. But specifically recently in popping, um, just I think people have just been popping up into my life, like because I feel like I'm putting that energy out there that I and meditating a lot, that I need people to support me, and I want to support people too. So like people such as yourself came into my life, again to really just like encourage me and support me. Um,
Shout out to me.
Shout out to you. Someone really that kind of inspired me to get back into popping is Boogie Frantic, big homie, my brother. Um, just lately, he's been really supportive and really, just like loving and just been a big brother and support. Um,
Shout out to Boogie Frantic.
yeah, shout out to Boogie Frantic. There's so many people, right now, and everybody has their like, you know, contribution. Like, they could just be someone that, barely texts me every month, but I, still appreciate that. And they give me so much love, even if it's just, one text in a month or something. But yeah, so I would say yourself. And then I have like actually a crew that I met, or I formed a crew with some friends that I met in AJ Megaman's reality check 1 course. Some of them I battled, and then we just became became really good friends up till now. They're my crew, so shout out to 404 crew.
Shout out.
Yeah, they just kind of carried me through the pandemic and carried me through uh reality check 1. So yeah, they're really amazing, beautiful human beings, divine masculine men in that group. So yeah.
So I know you did some martial arts too, right?
Hmm.
How's that played out? Helped you with some of your struggles?
Oh yeah. So martial arts. So kind of when I stopped dancing, or I stopped popping, or just left the scene, I started to train in martial arts. And it helped me with my strength, not just like, physical strength, but like mental, emotional strength, because yeah, I just learned how to speak up for myself, to be assertive and to defend myself. So that kind of carried into, seeped into like my personality, and it's become part of who I am, just like that mental strength, and also this like this feeling of like wanting to protect people, protect my family and people that I love. So that kind of intensified as I started training in martial arts. Yeah, but now I see that it's helping also my popping, my dancing a lot.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like I've said this before where like martial arts, like for instance, like I did boxing, right? So
Oh,
boxing, any types of martial arts, and where you have to have spatial awareness and you have to do kind of the flow and moves really like helps with dancing, especially like I feel like it helps a lot with popping, because and freestyling because it is a freestyle. Like yeah, the moves, just like any type of like dance or any type of like combat sport. Like you have to learn how to throw a punch. You have to learn the basics, right? But once you master those basics, you can put it together however you want in a freestyle,
oh yeah.
And so and then you have to really move while you're doing that. So it's kind of like I always told people, hey, if you're a dancer, you might want to train in a combat sport because it goes hand in hand. Like you'll learn a lot from that. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, I think like there's so many intersections and similarities. Like they just kind of complement each other. I grew up watching a lot of the kung fu movies, kung fu theater. I don't know if you did, but
Yeah, you a Wu-Tang fan, are you?
yeah, I'm a Wu Tang fan. Yeah, I would I would watch these kung fu theater flicks with my pops, and like other uncles and stuff. And yeah, I just became a fan, and then I got into Bruce Lee. So yeah, Bruce Lee has actually, interestingly enough, when I was not in the popping scene, I was also training in whacking. And so whacking is like, yeah, exactly. Whacking, they say like to strike with force. Like my mentor, OG Victor Manuel, he's somebody that I look like highly respect and look up to in LA for whacking. He's a punking and whacking OG. So like studying with him, he told me that all of the like the arm movements are like um from Bruce Lee. Like they were highly, the punkers and the whackers back then were into Bruce Lee, and they were into like his nunchaku skills. And so a lot of the roles and stuff are from there. So yeah, there's that direct connection.
Yo,
um
I didn't know that. Like I
yeah,
thought it was more. I mean, I know there's voguing, the voguing,
yes.
but like I didn't know there was like a big connection with that. That's actually pretty dope.
No, that's super dope. Right when I heard that, I was like, oh, it makes sense. That's why I'm into this. Because I'm a fan, like huge fan of Bruce Lee. His mainly his like, you know, his philosophical like mind, and how he came up with Jeet Kune Do. And also interestingly enough, I don't know if people know this, if you know this, but Bruce Lee is also a dancer. He was a cha-cha champion in Hong Kong.
I think you know who told me? I think my dad told me. So
Oh,
like so 100% my dad is a big kung fu fan. Like
oh,
I yeah, so like me and my dad like we'll sit there and watch kung fu movies and
mhm.
we'll have our day. We have that we bought this Haya like stream
Huh?
to stream like kung fu movies, and we
Oh,
don't even have to watch them with subtitles or anything like that. We watch them in Mandarin, right?
What?
And we like my dad's like, I don't even know. I already know Mandarin. He does it. He's just saying he does, but because he watches so many of these, but like obviously Ip Man, Ip Man, you know, like who was Bruce Lee's teacher, right? And so like we love watching him watching his movies, especially you know, Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen is like one of my
Oh my
all
God.
time favorites, especially when the first time I ever seen him was in the Iron Monkey. That's the first time I ever seen him.
Oh my Monkey's classic. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so like, you know,
Together.
for us, it like we love kung fu movies, and I love watching it, especially because there's that, you know, where they kind of just do it's like a dance routine, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it's very inspirational. So uh I do want to bring up another thing that, you know, I'm not throwing you under the bus, but I am going to like put you out there that, you know, and let everybody know that you're actually facing a big fear right now.
I'm facing a big fear right now.
Yeah, one of your fears to
Oh yeah.
actually go live and, you
Yes.
know, and do this, like, and you probably like forgot all about it, and then right now you're like
Yeah.
stage fright. But you're facing the fear, and you've been doing great so far. You've been on a half hour, and you've been killing it. So
Thank you.
how does it feel? How does that feel?
It feels good. I mean, I just feel like I'm, you know, just sharing with my homie, you know, so I feel good.
That's good. And what's been like your biggest like fear when it comes down to showing yourself? Like
Mm,
what's been kind of the thing that's been kind of like, oh man, I don't know if I should, like, been
mm,
holding you back?
yeah, I think mainly it's because I feel unworthy a little bit. Like I feel like I haven't um earned enough. You know, this is just my, you know, old stuff, old paradigm stuff in my mind of like I can't post yet because you know, I'm not, you know, who do I think I am? There's that question that kind of is a recurring question that's like an old tape, you know, that I want to just take the take the tape out and like throw it, you know. It's a
You
tape.
you want to pull out, you want to tape and pull it out and just cut it up and make sure it doesn't work anymore.
Shred it, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, old tape decks.
It's a
So not for sure, but you're doing it now though. Like I can see how, you know, not feeling like worthy, or maybe like you're good enough, or, you know, because I mean, man, I've seen you dance, and like I'm like post videos, and you know, I can understand where you're like, well, it's not the way I want it to be or how I expect it to look, you know. So you feel like I don't want to post that on because like it's not worthy of being watched. But like,
Mhm.
you know, it's like I like to say, hey, your trash could be somebody's treasure, you know. And honestly, people like the things that I don't like. People are like, man, that was dope. I'm like, really? All right, I didn't like that, you know. But at the same time, you're like, okay, cool, you know. So you're stepping out into out of your box right now. So, and I'm very glad that you're doing that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
All
Like
right.
it is thing that I wrote down this thing yesterday and I wrote that like um basically I should just post because I am doing what I love, right? And um and that's all that matters, you know. It makes me happy and I should share all of me because like I love who I am, you know.
Of
And
course.
and my ancestors and everybody that loves me would want me to they want me to share. They want me to love who I am because they love me, you know? So, yeah.
No, that's fire right there. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, so let's keep this going.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's go to the next one. All right, we're
go.
gonna get out. We're gonna get out of this darkness a little bit, you know.
Okay,
So like, let's get into the light now.
go.
So, so what led you to? So what
Ready?
led you to? What led you to search for guidance instead of just learning the old fashioned way? Like, who did
Mm,
you learn from?
okay, because I did learn the old fashioned way, which was kind of challenging. Not kind of, but it was hard. It's hard to learn the old school way, and I think it just depends on, who your teachers are. But I do now firmly believe that the way you learn and how what things that happen to you in life are, your lessons. So I had to kind of learn in a really challenging, kind of toxic kind of way, to be honest. So when I got back into popping, I my friends were like, "Hey, you should why don't you try, this class, and it was RC Reality Check 1, and my friend was going to take it. He's like a fellow crew member from Mind Body Music. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to take this. You should take it. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't take classes for popping. I never learned like that. I just learned from being with the homies and sessioning at somebody's house in a garage, and like I don't go to a studio. It's just like all these old things, all these old voices. Again, the cassette tape, that told me I don't need to take classes from anybody. I don't need, to go to a studio. So, but my friend was like, yeah, just try it. Why don't you just try it? I'm gonna take it, and I think you'll grow exponentially in your animation. And you know, there's a lot going on at that time, just to be honest. Like I lost so many, not lost, but in the sense the physical 3D body, when somebody passes, it's the physical, but that spiritually they're alive forever, but so I was going through that, like, just it was really a tough time. And yeah, so my friend was like, just do it, like it'll just cheer you up. And so I did it, and it was like the best thing I've ever done. And it would just kind of smashed all my old kind of paradigms in my mind of like, yeah, just you just learn this kind of old school way. But no, I realized that like it helped me grow so much, in animation. And then I just met like all these beautiful people again, like that are my brothers right now. I just hold them so dear to me now. And I would not have met them had I not, gone out of my comfort zone and like shattered an old kind of thinking in my head of like all these OGs telling me stuff and that I appreciate so much, but that was just kind of how they grew up, and that's all that they knew. That's how they learned, so that's how they became who they were. And then, so I don't fault anyone, for that. I just was like, okay, that's, the old paradigm, and now it's time for a new paradigm, and this is how it is now, and that's how we communicate is online, and there was nothing else, like, well, there was something else. I had Frantic's online course, because we couldn't see anybody, couldn't train, and so he was like, just train with me online, and so I had that, and then I added AJ's thing, and it like I feel like taking those two classes like just brought so much healing and joy to my life, so
Yeah, most definitely. It's crazy because like I same. I'm exactly like you did, like the old school kind of way, where like, oh, we're supposed to take somebody's class. Like, nah,
yeah,
that's not street dance. Like,
yeah,
you're supposed to create it,
exactly.
And so, but that way of thinking like does like stall you out a little bit. Like, I was, especially when I got back from the military, I started seeing like, wait, you just got into dance and you're already that good. Like, what's going on? You know? And it's like, you start saying, oh, I'm taking this person's class, or I'm taking that person's class. I'm taking this person's class. And you start seeing that each thing that they're learning is they are developing, you know? where it's now there is a kind of like a structure, a teaching structure now,
Yes.
and how to like teach and be able to have people understand the
Mhm.
movements in such a way that it does make them better, you know, versus like just the old school way of just like you just go out there and jam in session and do what you do, right? And well, that's how we used to jam. We just like I was just gonna go in the back and just kind of like just jam out, regardless if we did take like you know a class with where we had our mentor Flash, the first one of that was one of my first ones actually. So uh
Yes.
and that's where we met, you know. But now seeing how like these, Boogie Frantic and AJ, Mega Man, and Todd, how they they're teaching and they're very like, okay, we're gonna teach this one thing, then we're gonna go from here, we're gonna go from there, and it's like it's crazy how just that one little idea is just like, oh man, okay, I can evolve from this because it's just that one thing that they maybe reinforced that you already knew how to do, that you just can carry it on.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's for sure. Old school way of thinking sometimes like can really hold everything down, like it can really like hold you down from like becoming better, you know.
Yeah, I did feel a little bit because there was like expectations and so it did kind of stunt the growth a bit, but also really it was just my own self, my own how I felt about myself, at the end of the day, like it's really about like where I was at in terms of like how much I cared for myself and how much I loved myself, and so yeah, looking back at like even though it was like really tough, like I think it's just a reflection of where I was at mentally, emotionally, and like spiritually actually. So yeah, I think I think there's like good and bad to like everything or good. There's good stuff, from learning that in that old paradigm. I learned so much, that I don't think like that time. I think you and I we learned at a very good time. Like there was Homeland. I feel so grateful still for that everybody that got to come through to Homeland and learn there, just like it's just like a magical time.
It's something that like, especially back then, man, it was rocking. It would rock, and you'd go like to Homeland, and there was always mad people there, from
Yeah.
like newer dancers to like the OGs. So you would see like bunch of people just walking through, and I think that's just like
Mhm.
something like the newer generation of dancers are missing. Like,
Yeah.
that was, and there is some places that are have this Homeland vibe. I know the great 818ers, they have like a cultural center that's like, and I think that's going to be like
Thanks.
the next big one. I know they had an incident that happened over there that kind of had them take a step back, and of course, like with the coronavirus and everything like that. But like, man, once it gets backing on, like that's gonna be the spot to go
No, I can't wait. Yeah, I'm so excited for that.
for sure. So, how did you find like so how did like finding a coach or taking on a program solve some of the issues you had
No,
as a student of this musical movement?
I think because mainly the people that I look up to, like obviously you look up to them for a reason, right? So I wanted to, for me, it's like I felt like they give you the keys to unlock, certain things that are, kind of in the way of you progressing, or you just haven't tapped into that yet, so I feel like they've thought of it all, there's a reason why they're at this level, and they're at a level that you would like to be at. So really, like, how did they get there? And that's basically you know what has helped me is like, okay, they're basically sharing how they got to this place in this style, like, I don't know, waving or tutting. And then so they share with you how they got there. And then you're like, oh, okay. Then it just starts to unlock a lot of, mental blocks, or they just show you just a little path, they just guide you there, and then you kind of can go on your own. But like, there's a lot of things, like if I didn't go to different coaches, and I don't think I would have found these like pathways, to like evolve in my own unique kind of way, like I had to ask, and yeah, it just goes to show that, like, you do learn a lot from yourself also, but like we're not alone. Like, there's always people that come, they're like angels that come to like support you in your life, and so, and just seeing it as that is like people that, come into your life, for a reason. They really help you. And so that's how I see all of my teachers, yeah.
I totally see that. Like everybody that's like I've come in contact with that's helped me improve, like, or given me something that I remember that I can take with me is uh like they're special. They're very special.
Mhm.
And like I remember what they taught me and what they like still remember, like Tut Master, what he the kind of the tuts that he that he worked with us, and like even like you
Oh,
know some of the stuff that Wave-O-Matic kind of like
yeah.
taught us, and how like the whole like, oh, you got to pretend you're on a roller coaster type of thing. And so yeah,
Those
so
thing, yeah.
right now I want to take a quick little break, okay,
Sure.
about 2 minute break. So we're
Okay.
just gonna leave it like that, and then we'll be right back on, guys. And we're back. You got scared.
Yeah.
Bad. Well, it's that gallon of water, that I've been drinking. I was just like, yo,
Uh,
like
yeah.
I teared up. I teared up. I was just like, oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. But let me drink some more water.
Handling it.
Oh, that's the thing about this challenge, is that you're gonna be drinking a lot of water, and then like you don't have time for people's drama because you'll be too busy peeing. You know, so like So if people don't know what we're doing, we just started a 75-day hard challenge. Today's day one.
Yes.
And, one of those things is you got to drink a gallon of water. And when you're drinking a gallon of water, you're going to be peeing a gallon of water. So yeah, that to me, that's always the toughest thing to do. So, all right, let's get back to it. So, so what do you think is an issue that needs to be addressed in the community of dance?
Issue. Hmm. An issue. The thing that keeps popping up into my head right now is like, how do we engage like everyone so that it's a more inclusive kind of culture? Because like, a thriving culture has, it's multi-generational. Any kind of culture has, its elders, the youth, mentors, just everyone, because everyone, the more diverse kind of group you have, the more resources, the more, yeah, the more the culture will thrive and continue to evolve and live on, because it's constant, change. And so, yeah, that's just what I think about. I don't know if like it's a really problem, but just I think we just need to evolve, and what does that next level look like? And to me, the next level looks like an intergenerational kind of situation, where, because we're all, everybody ages, and it just keeps, and we want the culture to evolve, and we don't want it to, to die with with people, so I think that's the next evolution, is that, might not be homeland specifically, but I'm sure once things start opening up, there's be more spaces for us,
Yeah.
safe spaces, and I want like a place. Well, if you think about it, like Homeland was that place, like you were saying, it was intergenerational, because you would have the youth there, and then you'd have the OGs, and I think like it's always been like that. So you're right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So like, and that's something like, I mean,
Mm,
there is, all these sessions that are going on right now. And one of those places is Kumses. Uh, uh,
exactly.
what's it called? A session, right? That happens in downtown LA. And, I've been seeing a lot. I haven't made my way up there yet, but like, I've been seeing a lot of people showing up,
Yeah.
which is dope. Like, I love that. And, but I really believe it's missing the youth.
Hmm.
You know, just one of those places that's kind of like, well, it's outside. It's outside, and for us, that's cool. But for kids, like that's parents are going to want them to learn like that. Like it. Homeland had that. They had like a spot. You know what I'm saying, where people go, and that's But that's for me. That's been what's missing is the kids, that want to learn. I mean, I live right across the street from elementary school, and I'm like, okay, we're like, how will they learn? How
Hmm.
will they, and that's going to like the Parks and Rec. The Parks and Rec actually help out with that, right? Especially here in Carson. Actually, most cities actually have a good Parks and recreation system. That's why Long Beach, Homeland, was because they were backed up by the city of Long Beach, so they were able to be successful, and they were a successful program. But it just seems like there was a time that it just kind of fell. Like people weren't really going there as much.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe it was just kind of like on the down. Maybe social media kind of like beat it, you know. Um, but
Mm,
yeah, I feel like it is missing that. It's also like, like you said, like we need a place where we all or where we all come together. Where instead of it like some of the OGs enforcing so many rules,
yeah.
like, oh, it has to be this way or it has to be like this. Like it needs to be more, okay, let's guide you into a certain direction, but it's your form and you're free to do it how you want to interpret it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of like what you were saying earlier is that, you know, uh it's supposed to look like this, and that's the only reason it looks like that. And so when we're doing these moves and it doesn't look like that, we feel like, well, it doesn't look right. But realistically, it's like it's our interpretation of what we're doing. As long as it looks clean and cool, like it shouldn't be like a big deal, but sometimes that is. And I think that's the generational gap where I think our generation is the ones that are like, we understand what they're saying, but then like the new school dancers are a bit more free to do that. So we have to be that bridge between the old school and the new school to be able to make that come out in a better way.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. I totally agree with you. To be a bridge. We have that special experience, with that. learning in that way. So yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, I mean, being able to be at a place like Homeland and see all the creators of this dance, that used to stop by there. It's kind of like we're a bit spoiled, when it came to that. Like we got the chance
We
to
did.
see that,
Yeah.
and see Bop and Andre there, to see Wave-O-Matic, to see what's it called, man,
Taco.
Coco, or everybody, like everybody who came through. It's like there's so many names that we can throw out there that's like, that people today would be like, what? Like some of the people that we know through our like Facebook groups, like they're like, what? Like they'll be like fangirling over it, where we're like, really? Like it's not a big deal for us, but for them it is, right? And but that's how we're spoiled, and like I like seeing when people do that, get that fangirl vibe. And so
I still
yeah. So what piece of advice would you give to a dancer who's going through similar struggles, adversity, and challenges as yours?
Mm, my advice would be to really, I know this is so cliche, but I would say to really focus on loving yourself through the entire process and try to enjoy it, because there's so many people that would love to be in our shoes, that would just want to dance, that can't, um and so that's what my advice would be, to just enjoy it, and to enjoy all facets and all levels, every iteration of who you are. Just love every stage, every phase of like um what you're in, whatever, if it's popping or any kind of art, like just love all of it, even when it's not what you think it should be, or if it's not quote unquote good, what does it mean to be like good, and just all of it, just love every stage of it, because yeah, there's people out there that would just love to be in your shoes, just having the opportunity to like dance or to create, so
Yo,
thank
that's not cliche at all. That's straight from the heart. So that's the way it should be, because it's true. You're right. There's a lot of people that wish they can dance, that can't, and we have a gift, and it's our responsibility to share that with the world.
yeah.
So yeah. So before we get into this last thing, I started something last time with the last interview I did, and is I'm using something called Poddex. Okay,
Oh.
Poddex, they just have random questions, and we'll just see what kind of question it is. It could be anything from like oh, what's your favorite book, to like what's your biggest fear, type of thing. Okay, so all right, you tell me when to stop.
Okay, stop.
All right. Oh, this is a good one. So, when you die, what do you want to be remembered for? Damn, that one's a good one.
What? Wait, crazy.
When you die, what do you want to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered for my, like, how I made that person feel. Like, hopefully, I made them feel like a lot of love from me. Yeah, that's what I want to be remembered for.
Yeah, it's a great way of being remembered. Mine would be, um, I want to be remembered for making an impact. Like,
Mm,
like I don't have to be in the limelight, but I
yeah.
would love to be remembered for making an impact. So
Yeah, you are already now.
I'm trying. So, uh, So, so last question: if somebody wants to find you and work with you, how can they find you?
Hit me up on my MySpace. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
Just kidding. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, you can hit me up on my IG, at princesa_May. Yes,
It's right there.
right there,
It's right there. It's down at the bottom. Some
rolling.
you gotta look down. Look at that. All right. And there's actually something else that I wanted to tell everybody is that now I think it's the perfect time to do it since we're at the end of this interview. Is that I'm actually looking for a co-host, which I already found, and that's going to be that person right there,
Princesa May.
or Princesa May, or it's Bloom. Come on, girl, it's Bloom because you will bloom in flower. That's why. So yeah, she's going to start being my co-host. We're going to start doing this stuff together. And how did you like it so far?
It was fun.
Yeah, you think you could do this on a often? Yeah.
Sure.
Hell yeah, let's do it. We're gonna start rocking it. So hopefully we're gonna start doing a bit more episodes. She's gonna be my co-host, and when I'm like on vacation, she's gonna take over while she's gonna host it when I'm on vacation. Not this one that's coming up, but like in the like a future vacation, But yeah, we're gonna start doing this together, and it should be dope because at least this way, you have a male point of view, and then you have a woman's point of view, And you know what? Let me ask you this, okay? Here's one thing. It just popped into my head. Okay, the word. Okay, I've heard this a few times now. Female. The word female. People find they find it offensive. Like what's like I am like ignorant when it comes to that part of it, but like what makes it so offensive?
Because it just okay. So I think that there's a spectrum of like being human, right? And like I just want to be respectful of people who, I don't think that gender is based on, and I know maybe people have a different perspective, but for me, gender is like fluid, and gender is not, about just genitalia, you know what I mean? And so I just think that to be respectful of people who identify as LGBTQIA, or, like we need to respect that, like that's how they would like to be identified. So that's why it's offensive.
Got it. I had no idea about that. I just one day, I don't remember where I heard it. It could have been actually in maybe it was Boogie Frantic's class where he goes, "Oh no, we can't say female anymore," or it was somebody's course that they're like they can't use that term because they find that offensive. So, yeah, I was just like, really, I had no idea. Like that just went to me, So cool. Well, did you have fun?
I had so much fun, and just, yeah.
Big thing. So you can do it. You gonna do this with me, right?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, right on. All right, so this was a great time. I'm glad you guys were all here to help us with this experience, and it was a lot of fun talking to you. Okay.
Thank you.
More to come. All right, guys. We'll check you guys out later and catch us on the next one. Peace.
Peace.